Joining us right now is U.S. Congressman Mike Haridopolos. He is live this morning in Washington. Good to see you, sir. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you, Amy.
So, Congressman, let's talk first about some of the words that we heard from Pete Hegseth there, talking about how this will be very strategically different from what happened, what we all experienced when we watched the war in Iraq. And he talked about how some of the aspects of that war, and he used the word that the president used, which was dumb, and that they're going about this strategically differently. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, Amy, my thoughts are with our troops. They are at literally the tip of the spear as we take on this challenging endeavor. And I think the secretary was correct when he said war is hell. This is going to be a battle in order to make sure that Iran does not continue to terrorize the Middle East and threaten our servicemen and women in that region. Clearly, they are lashing out at this point, but we have gained the upper hand by knocking out their leadership. And let's all hope that the Iranian people can finally live in freedom as they've been oppressed by this radical government since 1979.
Congressman, we all know Iranian people who live here in America, many of them whose families fled the Shah back in the 1970s. I grew up with these people. They were beautiful people and still are, and are finally seeing the light of day for their country. But as you and I both know, just because the leader is taken out doesn't necessarily mean there will be change. How do we help them without being overly involved?
Well, I think that's a great question, Amy. And I, too, was actually speaking with some of my friends from the Iranian or Persian community just last night and asking what their friends and relatives are saying back in Iran. And they see this as an opportunity as well. This has been, again, an oppressed country for so many years, especially the women of Iran. And I think the difference will be we're not in the nation-building exercises. We are knocking out the command and control and some of the leadership in Iran so that the people can rise up. Remember, in Iran, unlike the United States, there are no weapons that individuals own, and so it is a challenging endeavor. And we're trying to say to the military that is not a part of this theocracy, let's gain our country back. Let the people to make decisions in the long run as opposed to an elite few in Iran. And we are not going to put boots on the ground, but this is going to be a strategic effort by Israel and the United States to finally bring peace to this region and let the Iranian people have some of the basic freedoms that God has given them on earth.
Congressman, as your role as a member of the U.S. Congress, how will you sort of help to guide this conflict moving forward? How much of a role will you have? How much power does Congress have?
Well, I think Congress has been very clear that we're not going to put boots on the ground in the Middle East. We are going to get an update from our former United States Senator, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, tomorrow on the full endeavor. And as the Secretary Hegseth said, we have asked the Iranian government for a simple request. Stop trying to create a nuclear weapon. Stop trying to use what they say conventional weapons to protect what could be a nuclear weapon or a ballistic missile in this region. And the Iranian people stalled just like they had done, the Iranian government stalled just like they did under President Obama. But unlike President Obama, where he tried to bribe them into complacency, the president put out an ultimatum, much like he did with Venezuela, and said, if you don't stop, if you don't work on peace, we're going to act so that we do not see a wider conflict. And I'm glad to see this has been done. But as I open our discussion today, Amy, let's pray for these soldiers. They are doing everything they can to try to preserve peace so that this is not become a wider conflict. And unfortunately, we're seeing this last vestige of the Iranian government. They are flailing out, shooting at everybody, trying to stay in power. But the good news is I think our American soldiers will carry the day and allow this region finally to have peace and the people of Iran finally to have a government that they can truly love.
Congressman, your expectations for how long you think this will take? We heard the president say that this wasn't, going to be a matter of hours, that it could take several weeks. What are your thoughts there on how it should end?
Well, I think that the end needs to be making sure that this radical government no longer has the weapons to threaten our neighbors and our friends, no longer the ability to fund terrorism, which they have done around the world. As Secretary Hegseth said, the people who are putting these IEDs and other things around, whether it be in Afghanistan or other places, or attacking viciously in the region, were all funded by Iran, by their oil revenues and the money that was given to them, unfortunately, by our own government many years ago. We are finally saying enough is enough. Remember, these people in Iran are chanting even today, death to America. Nothing has changed among the radicals there. We're trying to take out their ability to absolutely control the country so that the people of Iran can make a decision for their future and make it where the United States does not have to worry about that threat that has been in place since 1979. As you mentioned, we grew up with these very people had to flee this country because of the radical nature. And just recently, this same government had killed at least 10,000 people of their own country in the last few weeks. The number is as high as 30,000 people who are trying to gain that freedom that all of us fortunately take for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.